Fellas, let's stop lying to ourselves. You've been taught that to be a man, you must be agreeable, patient, giving. You bend over backward for a woman who says, "Look at my standards." But the moment you say, "I have preferences too," you get labeled shallow, insecure, misogynistic. That double standard is the foundation of emotional manipulation playing out in modern dating. You're watching Woman Unmasked, where we uncover what women think but never say. She can have standards, but if you express preferences, idiot label incoming. So today, we bring 6 brutal truths. 1. Her standards are empowerment. Yours are misogyny. When a woman says, "I only date tall men," or "I require a certain income level," she's lauded. She's self-respecting, empowered, not settling. Society cheers. Yet when you say, "I prefer a feminine woman who respects tradition," you're called misogynistic. Similarly, if she says, "He must be ambitious," no one bats an eye. But you say, "I prefer a woman who works harder on herself than she spends on makeup," you're shallow. The narrative is rigged. Female standards are framed as strength. Male preferences are framed as hate. She's allowed to phone filter dozens of men who don't meet her checklist without backlash. You put up a boundary. "I want someone who shares my values," and suddenly it's a red flag. This hypocrisy isn't accidental. It's cultivated. Her standards are marketed as empowerment, while yours are marketed as defective. For women, standards equals respect and choice. For men, preferences equals weakness and entitlement. But here's the truth. Preferences are just personal boundaries. Wanting what you value doesn't make you toxic. It makes you selective. But the modern narrative insists otherwise. If you push back, "I'm allowed to have my own idea quality," you're canceled. Until men challenge this double standard, they'll keep sacrificing self-respect at the altar of perceived progressive egalitarianism. Cancel culture rewards female filtering, but vilifies male selectivity. 2. Women don't want dating equality, they want leverage. Think about this. Women promote equality until it's inconvenient. They preach independence and then demand emotional loyalty. She wants to keep male attention fees low. "I don't need a man to validate me," while enjoying all the benefits that come from male social investment. She can date widely, keep options, flirt with others. You question it and you're controlling. This is not equality, it's leverage. She wants emotional freedom with no responsibility, but she holds you to rigid standards of loyalty and transparency. "I'm allowed male friends," she says, but you hang out with the guys, suddenly you're a lack of priorities. She demands you have a job, ambition, tons of character. But if you say you want modesty, loyalty, femininity, you get labeled retrograde or controlling. She ranks you on dozens of criteria, but you rank her, you're judgmental. She expects you to provide, protect, commit, but you can't expect her to stop posting thirst traps or to stop dominating the conversation. You become a checklist keeper, therapist, provider, but you can't keep boundaries. This is leverage masquerading as equality. She wants to act free, but your expectations must accommodate her every move. The imbalance isn't just about dating. It's about psychology. She holds the cards. She can reject you for anything, but you can't reject her for the same. That's not partnership. That's emotional one-upmanship. 3. Her standards are about trading up. Your preferences are about filtering out. Female standards are always pitched as upward mobility. "I want a man who can lead, someone who's tall, someone who's financially stable." It's framed as reaching for the best. And society applauds that ambition. But a man wanting a woman who is feminine, loyal, healthy, and respectful is framed as disqualifying too many women. She is allowed to be selective, opting for higher status, multiple criteria, but you are not allowed to disqualify even a single behavior. Her standards are seen as self-improvement. Your preferences are seen as prejudice. Women talk about trading up. Men are accused of trading unfairly. If she dumped a man because he's overweight, she's self-respecting. If you dump a woman because she's overweight or unkempt, you're shallow and selfish. The nuance disappears, and women get total social license to walk away from you, but you don't get the same license. Society praises her for better options. You're shamed for navigating them. She filters out men she deems beneath her. You get penalized for filtering out traits you see as destructive. When she wants upward filters, education, ambition, height, she gets called smart. When you ask for similar baseline traits, kindness, modesty, mutual values, you get labeled narrow-minded. That's the hypocrisy. Her standards are aspirational. Your preferences are condemned, even if they're identical in nature. For body positivity applies to women. Men can't prefer fit. The body positivity movement is entirely one-sided. Women are encouraged, own your body, love your curves, post without shame, no judgments, self-love. If she chooses 300-pound selfies, okay, caption it feminism. But if you say, I prefer fit women, now you're fatphobic, objectifying, treating women like commodities. She could demand a guy be 6'2", muscular, wealthy, no pressure, no shame. But you get punished for, say, viewing health and aesthetics as a baseline of attraction. It isn't about health, it's about power. Body positivity protects women from criticism. Male preferences are judged morally. She can flaunt her body and expect validation. You can only validate with silence. The moment you express physical preference, you're accused of oppression. She's allowed to set aesthetic bars. You're not allowed to express yours. Wanting health symmetry. Femininity isn't toxic. It's instinctive. But modern culture says men should suppress that instinct in the name of progressivism, while women are encouraged to openly state theirs. If men mirror that, even politely, they're labeled predators. It's not equality, it's control. One-sided standards disguised as fairness. 5. Women love you deserve the best, but don't qualify. Everywhere women go, they hear, you deserve the best. Never settle. Be a high-value woman. But here's the ugly truth. A lot of women say that without improving themselves. She's 33, no kids, with a history of short-term flings and zero emotional accountability. But she swears she deserves six-figure income, big respect, top loyalty. Meanwhile, you're expected to accept her flaws, her disrespect, her drama, all while she judges you around the clock. She demands you bring emotional availability, but she won't say sorry when she disappears mid-conversation. She wants to be treated like quality, yet acts like she's premium while displaying cheap behavior. That entitlement is rewarded socially. Male entitlement is punished. She expects the best, yet doesn't feel compelled to grow or evolve. If you say, I want someone loyal, she retorts, you're insecure. If you say, I prefer modesty, she says, you're controlling. Her martyrdom gets applause. Your standards get criminalized. She's built up on empowerment rhetoric, while you're held accountable to flawless tolerance. She calls it deserving, while actively disqualifying men for having the same expectations she claimed for herself. It's hypocrisy packaged as feminism, and men suffer for it. 6. If she can't meet your preference, she'll shame you. This one's harsh but critical. When she doesn't meet your preferences, she doesn't say, I respect that. She says you're wrong. If you want loyalty, she calls you insecure. If you want modesty, she calls you controlling. If you want traditional femininity, she calls you conservative or aggressive. Why? Because admitting that she doesn't fit your preference means accepting that your preferences are valid, and she doesn't want to validate them. It's easier to shame you than to change. So she weaponizes your desire. Society reinforces it. Men shouldn't have opinions. Women get to retract eligibility at will. Example, you tell a woman, I don't date women who intentionally party hard and post thirst traps. She says, so you're against women living freely. You want someone focused on personal growth and modesty? She says, you're trying to put me in a box. But if she's the one who chooses that lifestyle, she won't accept your boundaries. She'd rather shame your preference than evaluate her behavior. This dynamic ring fences her options while cornering you. Ultimately, preferences aren't the problem. Refusing to own your boundaries is. And if she can't respect your boundaries, she'll just label them as toxic and hope you walk away from your values first. Man, your preferences aren't hate. Your standards aren't entitlement. You're not wrong for wanting someone you respect. The problem isn't your selectivity. It's the system that punishes it. Don't shrink yourself. Don't apologize for wanting what you value. If you feel conflict, man, your preferences aren't hate. Your standards aren't entitlement. You're not wrong for wanting someone you respect. The problem isn't your selectivity. It's the system that punishes it. Don't shrink yourself. Don't apologize for wanting what you value. If you feel conflict, that's because you're bumping against emotional manipulation disguised as feminism. So don't bow down. Stand your ground. If this hits hard, good. It was meant to. Subscribe, like, comment, and share with your brothers and sons who need this truth. Because this is Woman Unmasked. And once the mask comes off, you can never go back.